The Giants just pulled off the perfect moves. After getting some things done in day one of the NFL free agency, the Giants picked things up to close out the day, but it was in day two that the Giants really put their pedal to the metal and got some big moves into the building that are really going to push this thing forward to hopefully have a more successful season in 2026 than they did in 2025. And we got to start off with this one because this is hot off of the presses. Breaking news is that the Giants have signed six-time Pro Bowl fullback Pat Ricard. Now, according to Jordan Schultz, former Ravens six-time Pro Bowl fullback Pat Ricard has agreed to a 2-year deal with the Giants to make him the highest paid fullback in the NFL. And I mean, this move solidifies a lot for the Giants. When you're looking at the rushing attack that they have in place here, he only adds to it. I mean, you're bringing him into a room that has Cam Skattebo coming back into his second year, Tyrone Tracy coming into his third year, and Devin Singletary as well. And that rushing attack right there, we're talking about Cam Skattebo, who didn't even have half a season in the books for himself last year. Tyrone Tracy, just like Cam Skattebo, was a later round pick, missed a bit of time last year as well, and hasn't played running back a ton in his life. He only transitioned to the position later in his college career. You have him in there, Devin Singletary. Those three guys, with all those circumstances that I just pointed out, were able to have, along with Jaxson Dart, I forgot to mention the Giants have a quarterback who's great with his legs as well. Those guys were able to put the Giants at fifth in the league in rushing. And now you're adding a guy like Pat Ricard to that dynamic as well. And I mean, when you look at some of the things that Pat Ricard can do, what I love about this is this team is extremely young. So Pat Ricard comes in and he brings a vet presence with his 9-year career. He's had more success than any of these guys have seen. And he's going to be able to give these guys some teaching moments. They'll have these learning experiences. Now, when you look at the stats here, we talked about him being a 6-time Pro Bowler. Back in 2023, he was an All-Pro second team. In 2024, he was an All-Pro first team. And then this past season, he was an All-Pro second team. Then you look at what he's able to do in the backfield. As a receiver, this past season, he had a 50% success rate. The season before that, he had a 60% success rate. And then going to him as a rusher, 100% success rate. So those are the things that pop out already. Catch rate as well, 73.1% for his career, 50% this past season. So as a fullback, you're going to love what he brings to the table. And I just think that the dynamic that's going to come with him in that room with all these other guys, and just, you can't understate what he's going to be able to do, not only for the team, but for the youth on this team as well. The Giants were extremely young this past season, which was one of the biggest reasons why they lost so many games. There was just not a ton of discipline. These guys don't know how to win. Harbaugh and company are making sure that they're bringing in guys that are going to teach these young guys that are sticking around how to win. So Pat Ricard, New York Giant, that one just coming right hot off the presses. Love to see that, and I think that this is going to be extremely huge for the New York Giants. Now, what we didn't get into yesterday, which came in later in the day that we can get into now, was that yesterday the Giants brought back another fan favorite that a lot of us were hoping to bring back, the Giants organization included, and that person was Jermaine Eluemunor. Now, as I said, everybody wanted him back. Jermaine Eluemunor himself would throw hints out there on social media and interviews and whatnot that led us all to believe that he wanted to be back. And they got themselves a bargain here. They were able to sign him to a 3-year, $39 million deal. It's when you look at the deals that some of the other offensive linemen are getting and taking into account the production that Eluemunor had for the Giants in these past couple seasons that he's been in with them, that is a heck of a bargain for somebody the caliber of El Umanor. And I mean, when we really dig into the stats themselves and we look at what El Umanor was bringing, there's a lot to really like here. You know, his offensive snaps played in his career, or excuse me, this past season, 1,088. He had 14 penalties, and then he only allowed 4 sacks. And what I like about him is 7th in offensive snaps played, 11th in pass blocking snaps played, 6th in run blocking snaps played, 87th in penalties, 52nd in sacks allowed. So he's solid. He's a quality starter, and it keeps the continuity here with this offensive line, which they really need, because losing Carmen Brasillo, who's the offensive line coach, we all saw what he was able to do, bringing the Giants into a top 10 unit as an offensive line. And God knows in previous seasons before Brasillo was in here, that was the biggest issue, was the offensive line. So losing him was big, but they're bringing continuity. They're keeping continuity here with having Jermaine Umanor back. So that's big. And the other thing to note here as well with Umanor, him and Andrew Thomas, their 2.95% pressure percentage was among some of the best when it comes to right and left tackle combos in the league. So they're going to be able to pick up where they left off, and we'll see how coaching can continue this offensive line. And I don't think the Giants are done bringing more offensive linemen in, but this was also huge for the Giants and what it is that they're trying to do. Now, another thing that the Giants did, the secondary for this team was a huge hole this past season. John Harbaugh and company, Joe Schoen, they made sure to address this as well today. One of the big moves that they did make in trying to address this was bringing in none other than Ardarius Washington. And Ardarius Washington, those are his stats, sorry. But Ardarius Washington is another Baltimore guy. You knew that Harbaugh was going to bring these guys in. He's a guy that's really versatile and instinctive. 2024, he was ranked 7th among safeties in the league. And I mean, when you look at some of the numbers here when it comes to what he's bringing in to the Giants, I mean, defensive interceptions this past season, not great. It was a bit of a down year for him, but pairing him up with Denard Wilson, what you hope for is that he can replicate some of the success that he had in 2024. He only played 4 games in 2025 for the Ravens, played 17 the previous season, started 10, and, 2 interceptions in 2024 for 33 yards. You look at pass deflections, he had 8. For his career, he's got 10 pass deflections, 2 interceptions on the career, which comes in as a time with the Giants. So he won't be the starter for this team, but coming in as that second safety, especially with the down year that Tyler Nubin's had this past season, coming into a new system, still familiar with Harbaugh, but he's going to have a new defensive coordinator in Denard Wilson. You can hope that he can try to replicate, if not boost, the success that he had in 2024. So that's them addressing a part of their secondary there. But the other part of them addressing the secondary was the fact that they decided to bring in none other than Greg Newsome from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, Greg Newsome is a former first-round pick from the Cleveland Browns. And for the Giants, what they're doing here is they're really just trying to take a flyer on him, I guess. They're betting high in a way with him because he has had some success. Newsome is a guy that's instinctive inside the numbers. And I mean, when you look at what he's been able to do, especially in the past couple seasons, got in a 17-game average, started 14 out of 17 games, 1 interception for 8 yards, 10 pass deflections, part of a combinations 50 when it comes to tackles. He's got 39 solo tackles. He assisted on 11 tackles. And that's just a part of what he brings. Played 11 games in 2025, or started 11 games, played 12 games. 1 interception on the year. Pass deflections was 6. His best year was actually in Cleveland in 2023, where he had 2 interceptions, but he had 14 pass deflections. So it's kind of the same thing that we talked about with Ardarius Washington here. You would hope that, again, pairing him with Denard Wilson can bring back some of the flavor that he brought to Cleveland in 2023. The schemes will be a little bit better for him. And again, he's not a guy that's going to be your cornerback 1. He's going to be your number 2 corner opposite of Paulson Adebo. So that's something that you like to see. And they're taking this seriously when it comes to addressing the secondary. Maybe with Denard Wilson in place, Deonte Banks can try and pick up where he left off from his rookie season, because it's been all downhill since then. He was specifically drafted for Wink Martindale's system. So maybe you can have some competition there, but it looks like Greg Newsome is going to be the starter for the New York Giants, and that's also something that we definitely like to see. Now, the Giants also made some other moves here as far as signings goes, and one of those was making sure that they continue to bolster the linebacker room by keeping one of their own in-house. Who was that? Well, ladies and gentlemen, it was Micah McFadden. They decided to sign Micah McFadden to a 1-year deal, and it's really a prove-it deal for McFadden when you think about it. He's a Giants draft pick, homegrown Giant. He's somebody that has been a solid starter, productive, brings depth in for the New York Giants, and it's a chance for him to show what he's made of, and whether it's getting a longer-term deal next offseason with the Giants, or maybe doing something like some of the other guys we saw, like Cordell Flott and Wan'Dale Robinson, where he just puts up good tape and is able to get a bigger deal somewhere else. But the organization, as well as fans, I'm sure, are happy to have him in place, and a part of that is the fact that when you look at the numbers here for McFadden, again, we talk about production here in his 4 seasons. 4 seasons with the Giants. He's played 48 games. He started 36 of those games. Got 1 interception in his career, 4 or 5 yards, 6 pass deflections. Combinations when it comes to tackles, 270. He's got 161 solo tackles. He's assisted on 109 tackles. He's also gotten to the quarterback 15 times. So in his career, you know that he's been strong there. Not much in 2025, missed most time, but even in that minimal time in his 1 game with the Giants last season, he had those three combos, or excuse me, combined for 3 tackles. Then solo tackles was 2, and he assisted on 1 tackle. Quarterback hits, also he got to the quarterback once in that minimal amount of time. You go to the previous season in 2024, he got to the quarterback 6 times, hit 6 quarterback hits, combined for 107 tackles, 60 solo tackles with 47 tackles that he assisted on. And then as far as everything else goes, not too strong in 2024 when it comes to fumbles and defensive interceptions and all that stuff, but the tackling, getting to the quarterback, getting pressure on the quarterback is all there. So when you look at some of those other moves that they made with their linebackers, this just only bolsters that for them. And then another big one, the last big one that we got to talk about here, John Harbaugh is a special teams guy. He is a special teams guy, and there were some issues with the Giants special teams last year. How do they address this? They do this by signing a new kicker, Jason Sanders. So it looks like Graham Gano is on his way out. Graham Gano, which a lot of Giants fans are hoping for will be on his way out, is been a thorn in the side of Giants fans. Number one, you talk about the injuries there. And granted, Jason Sanders did not play for the Dolphins last season due to a hip injury. but he was a Pro Bowler the season before that. So you're bringing in a guy who's got some success in his career there, and he's a bit younger. So you hope that bringing him in, not to mention they also got a kicker who's coming off a rookie season that'll be competing with Jason Sanders as well. So shoring up things on the special team side, the Giants are cooking right now. John Harbaugh is making his presence known, and there's still a couple moves that they have to make. What do you guys think? Are you liking the moves that the Giants have been making so far? Do you think that there's anything else that they should do in order to solidify this team and be taken way more seriously in 2026 than they were in 2025? If you like this and want to hear more, make sure to like and subscribe. I'm Rich Perez, and this is your Giants Digest.